Heads up, private practice dietitians. If you want to be successful, you need to actually do this one thing, and it's probably going to surprise you. As a coach to hundreds, if not thousands of dietitians each year, I spend a shit ton of time trying to figure out why certain dietitians are successful and other dietitians are not. And I've really kind of drilled down on this one thing, which I think is going to blow your mind because it is something that seems fairly simple. And we tend to do it for everybody else in our lives, but we don't do it for ourselves in our business. So that is what I wanted to talk about today. So for those of you who don't know me, I am Amy Plano. I am the reimbursement dietitian, and I help dietitians grow, scale their insurance-based practices so they have a practice that provides them the financial freedom and something they're proud of. So today I wanted to talk about the number one thing I see registered dietitians doing who are successful in their practices. And I'm going to explain to you how you can master this trait. So you guys are wondering, what is this thing? So successful private practice dietitians hold themselves accountable. Okay. I know that this is something so simple, but I go back to a lot of the big projects and things I have worked on over the years. And I think about who got me there. Amy P got me there by holding myself accountable. So being the boss is not a title, but a state of mind. I want you to write that down. Being the boss is not a title, but a state of mind. And I like to think that accountability is the highest form of self-respect. And in order for you guys to be successful, you have to start becoming intolerant of anything not excellent and letting yourself down, just you, right? Because you would never let anybody else down, is not being excellent. So you get the business that you essentially tolerate, not the one that you want, not the one you've dreamed up in your heads, but you get the business you tolerate. And just to be crystal clear, I'm not talking about being accountable for the small, busy work that needs to be attended in your practice. I'm talking about being accountable to the tasks and responsibilities for doing big, epic shit in your practice that is hard, that moves your business forward, right? As business owners, Amy P can agree, it is very nice when things are comfortable. It is very nice when things are calm. But the reality is that will not build an epic empire. So I'm not belittling the smaller stuff, but unfortunately that stuff is essential too. But if you guys want to have an empire, you guys want to create financial freedom, you're going to have to do a lot of tough shit. And a lot of times, at least in my experience, I don't even know how to do the hard stuff, let alone do the hard stuff. So this stuff requires you to come up with a plan and allocate resources, which is hard in and of itself, because a lot of the things you guys need to do that are holding you back right now from taking your practice from here to literally the next level is determining what those next steps are and doing them. So doing the stuff you say you are going to do is perhaps one of the hardest things, right? As a boss, obviously, nobody's going to punish us if we don't do something. Nobody reminds us and nobody pressures us. And for good or for bad, nobody bosses us around. And that, my friends, is a problem in and of itself, because in a traditional job, if we were working clinical or we were working in a private practice from somebody else, there would be deadlines and expectations set by others, which would keep us on track. However, as the boss of you, as the boss of your practice, it's up to us to create and enforce those deadlines. And that is where I see so many dietitians go astray. And that is why today I wanted to give you guys some strategies that I have found helpful for navigating this, because self-driven accountability can be a double-edged sword, because while it does offer us flexibility, it also requires discipline and focus, which at times can feel very overwhelming, right? Especially, like I said, when there's still the daily to-do list of client care, billing, and managing staff, because that takes both your time and your energy. So to kind of combat these challenges, I wanted to give you guys my top 5 things I find are most helpful to keeping myself accountable. Okay. And I wanted to start off with number 1, which is really sitting down, looking at your calendar. I like to work based on quarters and prioritizing big projects and holding space for them, right? A lot of you guys will tell me you want to accomplish X, Y, and Z. You want to hire an office manager. You want to hire somebody new to your team. You want to make $1 million. All of those things are amazing. But if we don't hold space for them in our calendar and understand by saying yes to working on hiring, say, a new virtual assistant is going to mean saying no to something else, right? So I would really recommend number 1 is like, what are your big projects for the year? And why, right? Why are they important? Why do they need to get done? And really first understanding, yes, by working on these projects, it's going to mean you probably have tunnel vision. So I like to look at my calendar and I space things out in quarters. So, and if I have a massive project, which often I do, I will work on it multiple quarters and I will break it down. But you have to prioritize the big, hard shit, because if you don't, it will not get done. So sitting down, having a list of stuff that you feel is most important and will move your business forward towards your dream practice, you have to come up with a plan, right? Because this shit's not going to happen without a plan, and we need to be accountable to that. So number 1, prioritize big projects, right? A lot of you guys are super busy, but you're super busy working on the wrong thing. So we have to prioritize the big projects that are going to bring us closer to our goal. Number 2, setting clear, realistic goals and breaking them down into actionable steps can make the project feel much less daunting, right? So let's just take the example of me starting a billing credentialing company for dietitians, right? That is a massive undertaking, given the fact that I am the only one responsible for creating the infrastructure, determining the services, determining the pricing, determining the platforms, creating the onboarding forms, sticking them into Adobe. So I have to be very mindful. Yes, it is a big project, but I have to set in my calendar very realistic goals. And once again, I set my goals by quarter. Then I break down my goals by quarter into by month. Then by month, I do it into weeks. And then I do certain things on certain days of the week. So not only do I set clear, realistic goals that have actionable steps that I need to take, I then, number 3, write it down, right? So often I know I am old school, but I have like a schematic of an 8x10 piece of paper, and I break it down in terms of quarters. And I think in my head, what do I want to do and when am I going to do it? So, and then I write it down. So I take my whole master sheet and then I put it into my calendar. So I'm doing certain things on certain days to make myself move myself forward, right? If I don't write shit down, I will not do it. Even silly stuff like going to the gym, I literally write down in my notebook or in my calendar, like the time that I'm going to go, because I might start working on a big project and then all of a sudden I'm really into it and I'm into the flow. And I know for me personally, if I don't work out in the morning, I'm not working out at all. And I also know that that is the ultimate form of disrespect to me, is to not stay true to my goals and the things I said I would do. So number 1, prioritize. Number 2, get crystal clear with what those goals are and break them down into smaller steps. Number 3, write this shit down, okay? Not only like writing your goals as like, you know, to remind you, but like what are like the actionable steps? Therefore, you can keep yourself accountable. Without actionable steps, it's hard to keep yourself, you're not really being accountable to anything. Number 4 is a big one. This is something I can help you with if you're looking for some support from a coach, but schedule regular check-ins, whether it be with a coach, a mastermind, a trusted colleague, anybody to help you stay on track, because we really need external accountability. I'm going to give you an example and you guys may laugh or like, so my husband is my best friend. He is somebody who I always trust their business advice. And when I'm working on a big project, I make him ask me the same question every single day. At the end of the day, when I'm closing up shop in here, his only job relative to my business is to ask me, what are two actions that I made, that I took, action on today to bring my business forward to where I want to be? That way it gets me away from like talking about the small things. Like I set up EFTs, I reviewed the claims, like all of the bullshit stuff that we have to do on a day-to-day basis. But I am accountable to him. I have to report the big stuff that I did that moved my business forward. So scheduling regular check-ins with a coach, a mastermind, like I said, even if you create your own mastermind among other private practices, I have a membership. I love to keep those guys accountable, my group coaching program, all of those things. And lastly, you guys probably won't expect this from me. You got to give yourself grace, right? So shit is always going to take more time than you anticipate. Like I said, I think about all of these massive projects, designing Reimbursement Dietitian, the course, it's like 120 plus hours, designing, hiring dietitian, building out a billing and credentialing company when I am the only one who knows how to do anything. And I have to do SOPs and train everything on it. So you have to give yourself grace because no matter how good you are at staying accountable, no matter how disciplined you are, shit's going to always take more than you anticipate. So you cannot get frustrated with yourself, because then at that point, a lot of you guys will give up. So my top 5 steps are really prioritize the big project, right? And hold space for them in your calendar. Number 2, set super crystal clear goals and then break them down, right? We kind of call this chunking, right? And then we're going to assign those actions quarterly, monthly, weekly, daily, which leads into number 3, write this shit down. So then you like look at your book and you're like, shit, I have an appointment with myself to do X, Y, and Z. Set regular check-ins, whether it be with a coach, whether it be with a mastermind, your husband, like me. That way you have some type of external accountability. And then most importantly, give yourself hugs when you need it. Give yourself grace because building an empire is some really hard shit. I can tell you that. I have zero regrets, but like I said, I think I spent a lot of time thinking about why are certain dietitians more successful than others? Because a lot of times we have the same training, so we have the same skill set, but it's really this character trait of being accountable and staying true and being focused. So being the boss isn't easy. The mere fact that you're showing up and trying every day is a testament to your true dedication and resilience, but you need to respect yourself and your dreams enough to hold yourself accountable to the arduous tasks that need to get done. Because remember, every step you take, will bring you essentially closer to nailing those big goals. But I will single-handedly say the number one thing I see dietitians do to be successful is to hold themselves to a higher standard of accountability, to have enough self-respect even when they don't want to, even then when they want to be doing shit for everybody else, prioritizing themselves, the tasks they need to do in essentially their dreams, right? You have to protect your time fiercely. So hopefully you guys found this helpful. And if you did, share this video with somebody who might be struggling with holding themselves accountable, or just share this with somebody who might need a little pep talk. So hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next video next week.